It looks like he didn't deny that. Sorry, let's take a quote here. He said, well, I crave your indulgence to share the contents of this letter in the first instance with General Babangida and General Abdulsalami Abubakar, who, on a number of occasions in recent times, have shared with me their agonizing thoughts.
So they've discussed this. And even when I listened to my brother talking before I came in on FFK, I see his signature in this letter. So there is the class of...
Sorry, how do you mean his signature in this letter?
Oh, yeah, I mean, when you... I'm a student of style. I know how certain people write and communicate. And I can see that signature in this letter.
So is it possible that he actually was one of those who wrote the letter and former president just had to append the signature?
Of course, Obasanjo could have written that letter anyway. When you look at the elevated language and the kind of style in that letter, Obasanjo could have written that letter. But be that as may, what he said in his closing remarks show clearly that there's an agenda going on. And that's why, for instance, because if you look at what has happened this week, first it was Tambuwa on Monday. Tuesday it was Sanusi. Wednesday it's Obasanjo. So we are being programmed towards something. And that's why it's important for us as a nation to be worried.
And that's why I want you to also look at the political implications, because how does one expect the president to react to this type of letter? What should we be looking to see? We've seen the reaction of the president's spokesperson, he speaking on behalf of the presidency, calling the letter indecorous and, you know, a host of other names. But what, as Nigerians, what should we be looking to see, and what do you see will be the political implications for this administration as a result of this letter?
Well, I think it's the letter is damaging politically, and that's why even if not responding directly to Obasanjo,
yes,
there are issues, because when a government, a sitting government, is being accused of training a killer squad, that's a serious one. That should, I mean, there's need to address, to allay the fears of Nigeria that this is not true. This is true, because when and on that is very important also, because when Obasanjo says, oh yes, snipers are being trained and the rest, because remember that quite clearly under his own regime, a sitting attorney general was murdered, was assassinated, and this same Obasanjo was telling us that it was a one drug baron that killed Bolagi. There was nothing that was done to bring the killers of Bolagi to book. We had Mariasha, we had Sekibo, and recently, two gentlemen who worked with Obasanjo went on Sarah TV to say all that they knew about this murder. They've said, for instance, that they carried the money to the Mariasha from Obasanjo shortly before he was killed. That days after, they also carried money to Bolagi in the same manner. Bolagi was killed. Till now, we've not had any response from him. So, and for over the years, we have had so many murders that have been linked to the states, and we never get any resolution to it. So when Obasanjo is making an allegation against the presidency, I think the presidency owes this nation and its parliament to explain.
Is it going to be enough? I mean, is a denial just going to be sufficient? It's not true, and that's it. Will it be sufficient for us?
Well, we must get to the bottom of this. First of all, you know, in law they say that we must hear the other party. So we must first hear the other party on this. But it's a very weighty allegation, because a lot of things, when he said that, look, the president has provided support for a murderer to escape justice, and he was being welcomed back with a representative of the president. This, if whom we suspect that is talking about is talking about, then I mean the presidency must let us know what actually happened, because we know that under this Obasanjo, Sergeant Rogers was taken back to the villa. Sergeant Rogers, who was actually accused of pulling the trigger on some of the people that were killed. So it is important for us. Perhaps this may be the beginning of us to know the link between the Nigerian states and the killings of citizens, right from Nilegua, who was bombed, up to Bolagi and the rest of them. So, and we have seen in this country that any murder that has any linkage with the states never get resolved. That's why we cannot take this lightly. And when it's always said that somebody who specializes in severing people's necks, when he sees somebody just go about with the cutlass, he begins to scream because they know what they've been doing. So that's why I said that it's important for us. Maybe this is a Pandora box that's been opened, that we may have to do inquiries to some of the murders that have been taking place in the past, which we have suspected that there's a linkage to the state.
Now, let's see in that letter, the Chief Obasanjo also advised the president, says that do not learn the lesson of history, and please do not take Nigerians and Nigerians for granted. It says, move away from culture of denials, cover-ups, and proxies. Deal honestly, sincerely, and transparently with Nigerians to regain their trust and confidence. Is this a path that the president should take?
Of course, there's no denying the fact that the president needs to kind of sit up at this.
So, if you do agree with that, why are you now saying that this is ill-timed or not right?
No.
Because the advice is like a father telling his son, look, you know what? You've been on the wrong path. Step onto the light so that people will see that you're doing the right thing.
No, he said, the Shakespeare said in Merchant of Venice that the devil can cite scriptures for his own purpose. So, on paper, this is an advice for any president to take in terms of, what's my place in history? How do I add the trust of my people? You cannot fault all that. But I'm saying that the person that is making all these recommendations, when look at his own, where he's coming from, his own trajectory, is not fit and proper person.
Is it possible to forget the person and look at the advice?
That's why, when I started, I said, let's take the message one side, let's take the messenger.
Some people also say that, right now we looked at the messenger, and we're saying that the messenger, or you seem to be implying that the messenger has no moral stand or ground to be pointing out the path to somebody else. But some people also say that at the end of the day, if we're looking at it this way, Nigerians would reap the greatest loss if we did not make progress in 8 years, and we're not going to make progress we've not made progress in the last 6 years or thereabout. Ultimately, we're the ones who are going to lose. So how do you think that this letter, if it can, how do you think it can begin to set us on the right path?
No, the Obasanjo letter will not set us on the right path. There's nothing, except the allegation is making of snipers and the rest of them, there's nothing we have not been talking about. In 2012 January, we called the people out in Nigeria for days over the corruption in the oil sector. So Obasanjo is not telling anything new. So Nigerians need to take their country. Nigerians, and it's also good enough that at this stage, very soon we are going to sit down and talk. There are issues to address about this nation, but I'm saying that Obasanjo and the rest of them, all they try to do since 1966 is that they've tried to, anytime there's a crisis, they try to take this country and resolve it in their own way. We should not allow it to happen this time around. They want again to provide their own solution, which will lead us to more problem. When it came in 1983 and started and they overthrew Shagari, we're under military for another 10 years. When it came in 1993 and provided a solution of interim government, we entered a crisis for another 6 years. So Nigerians must take charge of their country. We must not leave anything straight under the carpet.
I'm really
but
happy.
We must not allow Obasanjo and his Babangida and the rest of his group of generals who have held this country by the jugular since 1966 to provide their own solution to our crisis again.
Mr. Odumakin, the good thing here is that you've just talked about the people, and you reminded us again of the gathering in Ojota, and we also how powerful the people are.
Yes.
But looking at this now, let's take away our dislikes out of this whole issue. For anyone who disliked or dislikes the former president, or you don't like the face of the present president, let's talk about some of these issues. And I also remember Mark tried to bring us back. How do we get answers from the government on issues as training killer squads, having people who are thieves be guards of our own oil and pipelines? these are issues that we don't want anyone to use some flowery terms to actually answer. Don't you think that the people also deserve categorical and actually straightforward answers with proof that these are not correct?
Yes, that's why I opened. When I said, first of all, the message that, well, I've read Ruben about it saying that the president himself is going to respond to this. We wait for that response as soon as, without any delay. Because, like I said, there are issues that we cannot just sweep under the carpet. We must address. Either the administration as blackmail or whatever about this, Nigerians must know. If there's any truth to these allegations, that about snipers, about thieves being given to protect pipelines and the rest of them, it is very, very important, and they must be addressed. And Nigerians must continue to ask questions, must insist that the wrong things must be righted. I don't compromise that. I stand firmly for that. But we should be careful with what we do to Obasanjo and the attempts to use what that may be the failings of the present administration to want to launder himself and his group back into reckoning, and for them to seize the destiny of this nation. Because all they want to do now is to seize our tomorrow again and take Nigeria in their own direction. Because look, these coup people, in the history of this country, when they come, they make their coup speech, everything they condemn, they do worse. So we should provide our own solution to the crisis we have in Nigeria. The people of Nigeria, not the generals, retired generals.
In closing,
coming again
in closing, Mr. Odumakin, you got me thinking here, talking about 1966 till date. In closing, is it so impossible for us to have new leaders who are actually nationalistic in outlook to really change things and move things ahead? I mean, former President Bush was in Lagos yesterday, and we keep having people coming to the country from Europe and America to tell us the failings of our leaders.
Well, I think it's all the fact that that's why some of us are concerned that we must not allow these people, the Obasanjo, the Babangida, and the rest of them, to seize our future again. Nigerian people must determine their own future. We must change the template. We are being in the firm grip of these people. The non-commissioned officers and the lieutenants who blasted Aguiyi Ironsi in 1966 were the same people who became majors and lieutenant colonels in 1975 that overthrew Gowon. They were the brigadiers and major generals who took Shagari out. They are now the retired generals who put Obasanjo in place in 1998, 1999. Obasanjo put Yar'Adua, Jonathan, that lineup. So we have not left their grip since 1966, and that's why at this stage now we must not allow them. Nigeria must start on this new footing, and we must not allow this ridiculous club of generals to seize our future again and give us a solution that will lead us to more problems. Nigeria must take charge of their own country, take their destiny in their own hands, ask the right questions, put their country along the path they want it, but never again to these generals.
Well, country first from Yinka Odumakin, spokesman Afenifere, would like to thank you so much for coming. Well.